things. Anyways, yeah, we should be fine. I'm going to talk about some visual effects workers comments today, pertaining to some Marvel movies. That's what I'm bringing to the table. You got anything? We'll see on the other side of the intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Cup of Genre here on the Genreverse YouTube channel and podcast network, wherever you get your podcasts from, like Google, Apple, Amazon. We're on all of those big ones. Spotify. Give us a follow on that app or subscribe here on the YouTube channel, and yeah, check out lrmonline.com for written news, reviews, celebrity interviews. Also go up on LRM YouTube channel, LRM Online YouTube channel. Manny does some of those sometimes. Starting to again too. Speaking of Manny, that's him. I'm Kyle, and this is our daily show, and it looks like, knock on wood, somewhere I've got some sort of wood, haha. It is morning, right? Dunch. Anyways, that we get all 5 days this week, because we're batting 4 out of 5 right now. And yeah, man, I'm kind of looking forward to the weekend a bit. I don't know why. This week has been a weird one.
Yeah, last weekend we were on a vacation, and sometimes you need time off after a vacation. So we're definitely looking forward to this weekend, and we're gonna go watch Cocaine Bear, and then also taking Emma to watch Ant-Man because she has not seen it. Yeah, it'll be a double feature this weekend.
Very cool. I was gonna say Breaking Geek Radio, the podcast here on the Genreverse, will be allegedly reviewing Cocaine Bear on Breaking Geek tomorrow, Friday show. So yeah, that usually goes up late evening by the time I'm done editing the Buddy Daddies anime reaction, Daily COG, and then Breaking Geek, because they are so low on my priority list. No, I'm joking. I
gotta start watching Buddy Daddies.
Dude, it is such a fun show. It is completely accessible to all ages. A real, like, I mean, this is like there is some gunshots, so maybe PG. But it's cartoon violence. It's not like live action. They are assassins, and they do have to work. Yeah. But it is done in a way that it's not really glorifying the violence aspect of it, but it really does, man. It goes through all sorts of little things that we deal with as parents, from the kid mouthing back to the kid being too honest, about one of the dad's food and things like that, about how she preferred her mom's over his, and bathroom issues, and just every little thing that gets glossed over in a show like a Spy Family or The Devil is a Part-Timer season 2. When it comes to their kids, this show gets it. Buddy Daddies is a blast. You guys can, like I said, check out our reactions to that on here on Fridays. Buddy Daddies reactions. So, yeah. Anyways, visual effects, man, that is something that you and I have been complaining about, and not just Marvel. It's been little things from Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, stuff on just about every streaming show. We railed against a lot of DC CGI, especially Wonder Woman 84. Oh my God, was that awful? It was 84, right? Not 88? Yeah.
84, 84. Yeah. 84 is the one with the dummy.
Excuse me. We understand that it's not always the artist's fault. As a matter of fact, probably the majority of the time, it's not their fault.
Time and budget.
At all. Time, budget, and this what sounds like an environment at Marvel that prefers flexibility. They want the ability to change things at the last moment. They want to be able to add a request, add a scene, change a scene, and that oftentimes you don't have enough time to render correctly. And as someone that has dabbled, the nebula you see here on the background is something that I rendered in Blender. It takes a long time. I would render for and these are 1080p, 30 frames per second. God, I don't even know how many samples I took. I think I was taking 512 samples per frame, for those of you that might know what I'm talking about. And to render a minute and a half took something like 7 hours. A minute and a half of animation for this nebula that you guys see behind you, and that was on a I don't remember if I did that on my 3080 or my 2060, but regardless, it took a while. Now imagine doing it for much more intensive graphics and effects. Render time is a bitch, guys, regardless of how powerful the hardware is. The thing about more powerful hardware is it just means that people will do more intensive things with it. So Vulture spoke to some visual effects artists from Marvel, allegedly. Whoops, I didn't have that ready. Way to go, Kyle. Vulture spoke with some visual effects artists recently, changed names, didn't mention specific companies. For those of you that don't know how it works, Marvel will contract out studios, and hell, big studios will start up small studios to do animation for tax purposes and then close them down. Video games do that as well. I read through the majority of the three gentlemen, or three people, again, names change, so three people that they spoke to. All three of them seemed to say that Wakanda Forever took a huge priority in visual effects, even though multiple projects are being worked on. And if you remember, they made a joke about that, Manny, and She-Hulk. When it's She-Hulk, they made the joke about, they needed, oh yeah, Wakanda Forever. And they played the little music in it and about visual effects. So seems to be true. One of the people mentioned that Ant-Man had a lot of editorial changes happening in the later half of the project, things that were just too late. And again, that goes to that rendering time that I was talking about. You think of the hours of footage that there is and how intensive the effects are. Like I said, this simple little nebula, hours for just a minute and a half, and that's all I could render at a time, because I had to do it while I was sleeping. They talk about shortcuts that are made, using tricks to blend shots together and stretch out time one way or another. They said they think certain things were trimmed or otherwise altered to save money, save time, or the inability to get it done. They ask about pushback, and they talk about jeopardizing their jobs and livelihood. Another person said that their experience on Quantumania was comparable to a majority of other productions that they had worked on. Not especially bad, not especially difficult. They did say someone was upset about the lack of work that they got to do on it. Working conditions often less than ideal, but just more of the same in the industry. And then another third person again mentioned Wakanda Forever taking precedence, talking about the director not necessarily knowing what they wanted for Ant-Man, talking about Peyton Reed there, saying maybe it was that they didn't know specifically what they wanted, so when they returned something, there's all these last minute changes. And then having to recreate things because they didn't get the actual shot they want. So something, for example, of Ant-Man moving across something. Why didn't you film it right? Why didn't you get it right in the first place, or take some extra shots? Instead now, quote, why do we have to Frankenstein together an actor's performance? A quick shot that maybe takes 2 seconds would have to be redone 20 times to get the look that they want, end quote. So yeah, there you guys go. Those are, again, allegedly. Hold on. Don't chew on any cords. You'll find yourself back on the floor. That's kind of what we've been hearing now for a long time. And while I can get context for why effects don't look so good, it doesn't change the fact that they don't look good. It doesn't really matter whose fault it is, whether it's an executive, a manager, or an artist. The end results are on Marvel's hands, and I blame Marvel Studios, which includes Kevin Feige, for every time I've had a visual effects complaint. And I know I've been talking a long time, but Manny, this also plays into the Marvels. The Wrap had a piece where they said it seems that part of the delay for the Marvels from July to November was to facilitate more time in post-production. And we all know that something that goes on in post-production is visual effects. So what are you thinking, man? Marvel's got an issue, huh?
No, yeah, look at how many projects that they contracted out for them. If you're thinking about the things that they've had in production, and it used to be, a movie, 2 movies a year, maybe 3 at most. But now they have 2 or 3 films, and then they have 2 or 3 shows, and you're just not gonna have time for everything. You also have the fact that you you have studios doing other work. They're doing work for other studios, for other films, for other projects, and depending on who you're using, you only have so much time. So it must be a really grueling schedule for them. And I do not blame them for kind of coming out and saying, "Hey, man, like we're kind of overworked, and it's not really it's not really the fact that we do bad work. It's just that the tools and the resources that we're given, we just do the best that we can." Because that does happen. With they'll do a scene, send it out, and then it comes back with notes. They send it out again. It comes back with different notes, and at that point, you're running out of time. You just kind of have to, put something together on the fly, really, to kind of make it, just like patch it up and just make it look passable on screen. Which, sometimes for general audiences it works, but for some people who just enjoy the work, enjoy the artistry of it, it's easy to catch. And then you end up with with subpar product, like She-Hulk CGI and stuff like that, or stuff that you see in Ant-Man that looks pretty lazy, and it's not lazy, it's just being overworked. But if you watch on Corridor Crew every Saturday, they usually have things like VFX artist reacts and things like that, and they go really in depth as to what they go through as far as why some shots are why they are. And it like, it's almost like they almost like work under like indie conditions, where it's like, yeah, we only had this many resources, so this is the best thing that we were able to do. Not that we didn't want to make it better, it's just our studio ran out of money because that's all they paid for, or it needed to be out by this certain date, so we had our hands tied. Or I was working on this, but this thing came in late from Wakanda Forever, and I needed to, and they said, no, this takes priority, so I had to wrap that up. So there's a million reasons why the shots just don't look as good. But it all goes back to the reason why now they're probably gonna be slowing down on releases, because they're realizing that it's just not working. It's just not
sustainable
unless you have like an army of artists. Which they still probably do, but given the corporate mouse, you probably want it faster and whatever. It's just not going to work.
It's not as easily outsourced as like Fox Studios animation shows like your Bob's Burgers, how many of those are outsourced to countries like
Yeah.
I know at one time Korea was big for doing work on things like Futurama and the Simpsons. These types of visual effects are a little bit different. It's easier to find people that can draw and mimic drawing styles more than it is people that are the type of 3D modeling and visual effects artists that it's a lot more specialized than general hand-drawn animation, or even general 2D computer animation. Or, well, not 2D, it's still 3D, but you know what I mean. That's used in 2D style, I should say. It's all different, and you just can't.
And it'd be really difficult
not at proper wages, at least.
It'd be really difficult to outsource, like similar scenes to
Mm-hmm.
different companies too, because they may have different approaches to making a scene, kind of like a painter uses different paints and things like that. They might have different programs that use similar, but still different codes and things like that.
There's industry standards for it, because of how fluid studios are and how much they will work with multiple groups. But to your point, the more pieces the more joints, the more points of movement, if you will, additional teams, the more areas of potential breakdown there are, whether that's a breakdown in communication, something getting lost. You sent the notes for team A to team D on accident, and now team D doesn't know what to do, and team A doesn't know what to do because the notes went to the wrong places. So you got to figure out that to get the notes to the right places. When if you had everything in house, or at least in one house, maybe two at most, it would be less likely to cause issues, man. I mean, I don't know.
I think in simplest terms, the easiest way to put it would be, think of making constructing a Lego set, and then your mom comes back and says, we actually want the middle piece to be red. And so now and it's not as easy as adding a piece. You kind of have to deconstruct a good chunk of it in order to fix one thing. Because in a visual effects shot, you have to tell the computer to do everything, every movement, every shadow, every color. It has to be told what to do, or else it potentially can crash at any point. And sometimes that doesn't even show up until after the render, which was actually terrifyingly annoying, I've heard. So yeah, it sucks, but I mean, it is that kind of double-edged sword of not doing practical things anymore, because it's you're relying so much on VFX that you can almost feels like you can get lazy when shooting, because I don't worry about it, they'll fix that in post.
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
And then the people in post are like, the hell we are.
That's a whole nother complete line of likely truth.
Yeah. So, which is then why you appreciate practical effects a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just a different art. Also, like, I'm not gonna say, because I'm old school. I'm not gonna say practical effects are better, because VFX have come a long way.
Oh yeah, there's the time and place for both, and there's times where both should be used. Like, one should be used over the other individually. Each one has those moments, and it hurts when you should do practical and you don't, and it hurts when you should do CGI and you don't. It's a little less often that way.
It's just interesting because I remember a couple months ago, during like when the trailers were being released for Quantumania and things like that, people were like kind of making fun of the. I was like, people are upset because they didn't do on-site location filming for the Quantum Mania.
Yeah,
And
for the Quantum Realm.
Sorry for the
Yeah,
Quantum
yeah.
Realm. And now that it's out, there's a lot of people who are like, this looks like Spy Kids 3D. And I'm like,
You said that.
I did. No, it does. And
Yeah.
what I'm alluding to though is like, this isn't a real place, guys.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be wacky. It's supposed to be very, very strange looking and kind of fit the name and fit the franchise that is Ant-Man.
I mean, was it any less weird than Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
I really don't think it was, especially when you think of like the kiln, the prison, and all the weirdness in there. I don't really think Quantum Mania was any less weird. It wasn't as gritty because it wasn't dealing with criminals in a prison,
and it also wasn't competing with television shows at the time.
Yeah, that is well.
So it will be interesting to see Guardians 3 and how that looks, because that's going to have similar, if not more, weirdness in VFX. So
I mean, we got a planet of anthropomorphized animals, you know, like koala people and panda people and stuff. So when you're dealing with the high evolutionary, things are gonna look strange. But yeah, it'll still feel gritty. I think Guardians will likely feel more like Guardians than Ant-Man 3 felt like Ant-Man. I mean, Ant-Man 3 definitely felt a little bit more Ant-Man post Phase 4.
I thought this was more Ant-Man than Ant-Man 2. I'll tell you that. I could care less for Ant-Man 2. The only thing the thing that made me mad, I was thinking about that this morning while I was making coffee.
At least it had Luis.
Like, that's what was actually going to be my point. Was like the one thing they asked you for as fans since the first film was give us Luis. And I get that he doesn't fit at all, but have him show.
He could have been a mid. You could have done the Kang thing at the very, very end, and you could have done the Luis thing as like him just like have him involved somehow in like a mid credit scene. Even that would have been
have him
enough.
Dropping off food or something.
Yeah.
And looking for them, and then they show up in the house, after getting out of the quantum realm. But,
yeah.
But the fact that they took that part of that became pretty integral, especially when telling the story.
Hell, we all wanted to have him recap the MCU before Endgame. That would have been great.
I mean, unless the actor doesn't want to do it anymore, that's different. But still, like. I know T.I. had said that they just didn't invite him back, and
that's because he got into some legal troubles. But
you know what? He's a rapper. Leave him alone. I will always defend T.I. We're a band man. So I don't know, man. It's just
I do happen to like
if there's gonna be
my
superhero
beats down low and my top laid back.
if there's superhero fatigue, it's gonna be Disney's fault. Right now,
yeah,
because
too much out there for Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's I guess that's my take on it, and unfortunately, it's not just the audience that's fatigued on it. It's also the people working in the back.
Yeah. You know what else is too much? This is an awful segue, but I'm doing it anyways. What else is too much is Venom. Venom 3 is too much. I know it's been officially in the works for a while now, as far back as CinemaCon last year, but Tom Hardy has released a social media post on Instagram showing that he's in pre-prep. So pre-production started on the wild ride that will be Venom 3. Wonder what ridiculous Japanese light novels / manga / anime title they'll come up with this time over over there at the wonderful house that brought us Let There Be Carnage and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I hate you, Sony, so much. I say that as someone that's literally got a PS2, 3, 4, and 5, and 2 PSPs in this house. I despise you. Thanks for all the stuff you've been doing with me with Crunchyroll, though. Those guys are great.
Jesus Christ.
It's Sony Pictures. It's Sony It's Sony
Pictures, yeah.
Sony Pictures. Sony Studios. And specifically Amy Pascal. Just story-wise, awful decision when it comes to story.
So here's what I'll give you. Here's what I'll give them. Domestically, nobody cares about Venom. It's in the international market.
No. They care. They don't care as much, but they cared enough. They cared enough, but it was the international that gave the first one its big win.
Which what I'm saying is that's why it's still alive. I'll give that a pass. What I won't give a pass is the fact that I keep reading that Eternals 2 is being made. Like anyone wants that crap.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like I and then I got excited when I saw that Shang-Chi 2 got added because that was good. Let's have a second one of that. That's kind of an easy story to tell. But Eternals 2, you're gonna bring back all of that, star powered just to kind of sit there. And I mean, like, I don't know, that it seems like a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of energy for superheroes that don't really matter right now, or matter in the sense that their movie sucked and there's no connection to them. So I
mean, Venom, they're
I'd rather watch another Venom movie than another Eternals movie.
Well, I don't want to watch either, and I definitely don't want to watch Craven, and I don't want to watch Madam Web. Let There Be Carnage actually made just shy of $40 million, 39 million more than the first Venom domestically. It did not do as well internationally because it did not get a China release. So yeah. It still made 501 million worldwide. Let There Be Carnage 2, the original's 856. And do they have a budget? Oh, you got to be part of the special thing. Anyways, Sony's Spider-Man stuff, like, I don't get their defenders, man. Like, Madam Web seems to be Spider-Man Terminator, where literally the goal is to protect Peter's pregnant mom, is what it appears to be. That's coming out in February of next year, of course, and I think it's this year we're supposed to get Kraven the Hunter.
Is that supposed to be this year? Because
it's October 6th this year, as of right now, October 6th. So, and in that one, we're being told that the hunting aspect will be different. So,
is it like animal rights or something?
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a way, and I've said this before. There are big game hunters that are some of the biggest conservationists you can imagine. They pay big money to groups that work hard to protect, increase numbers, fight poachers and things like that. These big game hunters will pay big money to these organizations to go out and shoot some really rare big game, and they'll also use it to do specific types of population control and things like that. And you could have a hunter that is very, very involved in that, have Kraven donating all this money to these these groups. People have no problem watching a animal slaughter another animal and go, well, it's eating, but they have an issue with humans simply because we can farm. I mean, no, it's still nature.
This is a little
it's
different. Also, when
nature.
you're just killing something to put it on your
well,
level.
no, that is true. And I'm not talking about people that don't put stuff to use. You know, as long as the animal's body and parts go to use, I'm fine with hunting whatever, as long as it's legal and done ethically. You're not, you know, poisoning them and laughing while they die slowly or anything. But they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think they have the balls to show the positive sides of hunting. And you're making this movie about a guy who is not necessarily the most in the past, not the most what's the word I'm looking for, positive hunter in the comics, but you could if you wanted to signal that way, you could do it, but they won't. I don't know exactly what they're gonna do, but it scares the crap out of me. I mean, Marvel ruined Taskmaster. That really sucked. Marvel, or not Marvel, Sony, in my opinion, has really just sucked with Venom. And because how do you do the character right without having it hate Peter frickin' Parker and the cheap post-credit scenes and stuff like that they're trying to do with Venom and Spider-Man No Way Home? I don't buy it. Marvel could ignore it. Sony can do whatever they want, like they tried to do with Morbius. I don't. Why can't they just work hand in hand with Marvel and make shit tons of money together? Like, seriously. And Marvel isn't even the best right now, but I would still put it in Marvel's slightly bumbly hands over the last. Well, no, they're pretty bumbly hands over the last few years, but I'd rather put it back in their hands than leave it still in the hands of Amy Pascal and her team. She makes the worst decisions when it comes to the Spider-Man properties.
Yeah.
And Ghostbusters apparently too. I think she was involved in that one.
Not the latest one.
Not the latest, the 2016. I might be wrong on her name on that one, but anyways, Spider-Man's stuff, she's been heavily involved in the majority of it, not all of it, but the majority of it.
There's Madam Web also.
I know that's February of next year. That's the one that's the Terminator, protect the unborn Peter Parker. That's what it seems to be.
I take it back. If there's gonna be superhero fatigue, it's gonna be because of Sony.
people would have to actually go see the films in order to get fatigue from them.
You're right. Nobody's fatigued from Morbius because nobody's seen it. What's up? Come on.
Oh man. Well, that's it for me, man. I am spent story wise. Did you have anything on your mind, or are we good for the day?
No, I think we're good for today. Say hi, Smith. Hi.
What's up, Smith? How you doing, kitty? Attack him. Get him. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. It's always fun to have these types of chit chats, and please do check out the rest of. Oh, I didn't even have the channel loaded. Please do check out the rest of the content here on the Genreverse YouTube channel. We've got anime reactions. We've got trailer reactions. Marvel Multiverse Mayhem should be doing Secret Invasion whenever that starts. You can check out our Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania reviews. Breaking Geek Radio does what we do, only longer and only one day a week. AVR squared, so much content. The Cantina, look for our Mandalorian season 3 reviews starting next week on March 1st. If it's not a reaction, it goes up on our Genreverse Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts from. And of course, check out lrmonline.com for all written news, reviews, celebrity interviews up on the LRM YouTube channel, and more. Manny, anything else from you?
No, not today.
All right, guys, we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Make it 5 for 5. Bye.